This is the E-commerce Edge podcast with your host, Jason Greenwood. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the E-commerce Edge podcast. We'd like to welcome you along for the ride with us today. But before I introduce our next amazing guest, I would like to encourage you to go to whichever platform you prefer for podcasts, wherever you're listening to this or watching this, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Rumble, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is. Please go and subscribe and share from there. It helps us with the algo. And we have a back catalog of almost 500 incredible episodes covering almost every single topic you can imagine related to e-commerce, omnichannel, and digital retail. But without further ado, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome Kashif Zafar from Xnurta to the podcast. Welcome, Kashif.
It's great to be here. Thank you so much. Happy Friday. Happy Valentine's Day as well, too.
Thank you so much. Yes, my wife surprised me with some nice little gifts this morning when I woke up. So I was really, really grateful for that. Valentine's Day, I know it's a really sort of commercial day, but I'll take any chance I get to praise my wife. She's an amazing woman. I'm lucky to have her in my life. Hey, look, just another excuse to make your partner happy, I think, is always a good thing, right? Happy wife, happy life, as they say.
That's right. Said, and I think it goes without saying that this is a day where men can do really well, spoiling them as much as they can. So yeah, it's just an excuse to do that, but definitely excited about Valentine's Day, that's for sure.
Love it. Now, before we get into what Xnurta is and does and how you came to be, why don't you tell us how you came to be in this space to begin with? Because what I find really interesting on my podcast is that people come to be in the digital space or the e-com space. They come through different vectors, right? They didn't necessarily start out in it. They didn't necessarily go to university for it. They oftentimes fell into the industry. Sometimes they started out as a creative. Sometimes they started out as a data analyst. Sometimes they started out as just a business owner. And then they progressed into getting into a focus on e-commerce. And so there's almost as many pathways to get into this industry as there are people in it. Yes. So how did you get sucked into this beautiful world of e-commerce?
Yeah, you're spot on. I think my journey is very similar to that, where it was unexpected. So my career was very much in the world of consulting, software development, and testing. I worked for companies and I was located in either China or Dubai or in the US, but most of my start of my career was really consulting with companies, just really looking at generally their software development, what they want to do. Back in 2014, 2015 is when I would really say fell into the world of what is Amazon? Oh, interesting. Amazon and digital marketing and digital commerce, and really being able to bring more life online. And I got introduced to a company called Content 26 back in Seattle, and they were really pressing on the need for Amazon for brands. And back then, I don't know if you remember, 2015, it was in 2014, 2015, it was all about just having content online. When it came to Amazon, just pretty pages, product detail pages, just having your products online and then having these great lifestyle images, or eventually what was the advent of Premium A+, but it was really just like bringing your products online, right? Like a beautiful website. And it was right around that time, another year or so later, that we saw the launch of Amazon Advertising, right? Which was this huge boom where now it's not just about having these products online with really great content and product descriptions and hero images and lifestyle images. Now it's, oh, wow, now you could drive further traffic to these pages by advertising on their platform. So that's where I really got into it. It was a really exciting time for me because I came from that consulting world, helping clients, brands, but now to be able to do that in a up-and-coming platform like Amazon was cool. So I started back in 2015, and I spent, Jason, about 10 years in that space. So 10 years I stayed in the Amazon agency space, which was pretty much helping brands just sell on Amazon, advertise on Amazon, launch new products, be strategic about their business in Canada versus the US, things like inventory, forecasting, all of that whole Amazon ecosystem started becoming a bigger and bigger thing, obviously online as business started to grow, going into COVID. So I started my journey just really there. I went to a couple agencies, Content 26, and then I went over to Orca Pacific. And Orca Pacific was a fun adventure for me because it was an up-and-coming Amazon agency, and really they were looking to grow and be acquired. So I was part of that whole journey as well, too. So I spent about 10 years in the Amazon agency league.
Wow, what a crazy ride. And that's why I love hearing these stories, because I know sometimes it's a little bit boring maybe to kick off with how somebody got into the industry, but the reason I asked that question specifically is to share with my audience around the fact that this industry isn't just for e-com specialists. It
Yes.
isn't just for entrepreneurs. It isn't just basically anybody with almost any passing interest in technology or shopping or commerce or
Yeah.
business or creative, or like, you can come from almost any background or any interest imaginable
Yeah.
and find a home in the e-commerce world. And so that's one of the reasons why I asked this question, is because I want our industry to feel
Hmm.
more accessible than ever before,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, there oftentimes is a shortage of resources in our industry,
Yeah.
especially now. For the last 10 years, I've specialized in and dug deep into the B2B e-commerce space.
Hmm.
And B2B e-commerce in particular is even more bereft of resources and more challenged around specialist resources than the D2C or B2C e-commerce space. And so
Yeah.
that's one of the, I want to just really make it very clear that, hey, if you've got a passion for
Yeah.
something, there will be a role for you in the e-commerce world. And you've doubled down on Amazon because that's where that's where you cut your teeth. But what's interesting about that also is that when you first started out, Amazon was not nearly as
Yeah.
big or as dominant as it is today.
Yeah.
And now, today, from an ad perspective and an ad platform perspective in the United States, they're number 3 in the
Yes.
world, behind Google, Meta, and now Amazon. Sometimes you get on the ground floor of something and you ride that
Yeah.
wave, and it can lead to some really fantastic opportunities in our industry, can't it?
It really can. I think going back to your earlier point of anyone could get into it, when I got into it, again, my background was consulting. It was software development. It was overseas development consulting, helping businesses just look at how to connect to customers. And at the time when I came in, they were just looking for people that really understood how to help brands. That could be a graphic designer. That could be a
Yep.
copywriter. To your point,
Yes.
that could be someone that's a project manager. And so even when I got into this space, and even now, even like when I think about our company in Xnurta, we hire people from all different wigs, right? That lens is important. Sometimes it's someone coming from the brand side, someone that's coming from a retailer. Sometimes that's coming from someone that's really an AI guru. Sometimes it's someone that has nothing to do in here. And so you're so spot on about that. And what's cool about the space is it's becoming so much about day-to-day stuff. Like we're all day-to-day consumers and digital commerce and online. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And to your point, when I got into Amazon, it was not the king it was today, but it was just cool to see the evolution and to be part of it every step of the way has been fun. And then now you're seeing other platforms like Walmart and Target and whatnot. Also, there's opportunities there. So the journey and seeing how our world is changing just from shopping and convenience, that's why I'm still in this. And to your point, that touches all of us. So I think it's very fascinating to be in this space, and it's very easy still to get into this space.
And for you, what made you, because Xnurta, in all transparency, I've never used the platform or worked with the platform before, but so I have to go with what's on the tin. But as I understand it, it's a Amazon first and then maybe Walmart second ad management
Yeah,
platform to make sure that you are getting the best value for money out of your ad spend on the Amazon platform as possible.
yeah.
But what made you look out like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when you started really building the vision for Xnurta? What made you look out across the market and say, look, okay, maybe there's these other platforms that do bits of
Yeah,
this, because you're not operating in a vacuum. You're not operating in a market of one.
yeah,
There are other platforms out there that purport to be able to help you manage your ads and be efficient with your ad spend and all that sort of stuff, and ad analytics and placement analytics and all that sort of
yeah.
stuff. So what made you look out there and go, that's great that all these other technologies are out there, but they don't tick all the boxes for me.
Yeah.
And I think we need to build something special
Mhm.
that can do something that's not really available in the market yet. We feel like there's some blue ocean space here because of XYZ. So what were the XYZ reasons?
Yeah, I love telling the story, honestly, because I think it really was a natural fit for me when I did join Xnurta almost exactly a year ago. So, taking that story from earlier, I was on the Amazon agency side for 10 years. So, working with hundreds, if not thousands, of brands, looking at how do we best optimize their Amazon business. And a big part of that is, like you said, the advent of retail media and Amazon advertising dollars that brands and sellers are investing to get more traffic and to get more return on ad spend and get more, in essence, consumers to buy their product, which is a huge business now, right? So really, I use all the tools, right? I've been a customer of these tools and my competitors now for 10 years. So I went from platform to platform, and I saw that, okay, the ad tech platform, especially in retail media and specifically for Amazon, Walmart, yeah, there's a lot of advantages there. There's a lot of advantages in terms of being able to pull that data from a tool, get some insights and reporting, maybe turn on some rules-based automations and triggers. I was like, okay, if I want the campaign performance to be X, with this trigger, go ahead and spend more ad spend, right? So there was some logic and definitely efficiency play there. But I think I actually became a customer of Xnurta in my previous agency. And the reason that I got interested in it is because I kept hearing about this new player in the market that's really developed a product with AI in mind, really at the heart of it. When it comes to the core of it, they're really the leader when it comes to AI powered solutions for brands and sellers. And so that's what got me excited, because I was like, okay, let me look at what that means, because everyone was hearing these buzzwords about AI in 2022, 2023. And so in the same boat, I was like, okay, let me talk to them. So I tested them, I did pilots with them, and then I saw that their AI truly was giving me efficiency play like I hadn't seen before. In other words, that I can have one of my ad managers who's got maybe 15 accounts and 15 clients, and he or she's responsible for managing those, that with now this AI powered tool, he or she can save 40% of the time because the AI is doing the heavy lifting of those campaign bidding, but in a way that you can trust it, that the logic is there. We're looking at the changes the AI is making. It makes sense. There's transparency there. So for me, it was a no-brainer that though there's tools out there that are great, and I was a customer of theirs, this tool is different because it's allowing me to get more efficiency play so that my ad manager can bring even more value to my sellers or brands that they're supporting, because now they have more time. And then that led me to, after several months of using the tool and everything, really getting interested in the company and looking at what their vision was. They were new to the market, only year two. They had just won the Innovation Award for Best Tech from Amazon, which was a pretty prestigious award. So it led to some organic conversations where they were like looking for a CEO to really now going into the really their core year 2 and 3s to grow the brand and help with this message. And I was basically running a commerce division in my previous agency, and I love that. Like, my history of my journey has been building companies, building and helping grow, and really looking at it from that lens. This excited me because after I helped sell Orca Pacific to S4 Capital and Media Monks, which was so exciting, right? I built something from 8 people up to 100 people, get acquired, great story. I was missing those. I was missing those days. So I felt, here's a place where I can go and really not only help them, but really get more into this agentic AI powered world that now we're into. And so that's, just to answer your question, that's what excited me specifically about Xnurta. It's been over a year, and we've seen a lot of those innovations of AI continue. We won the Innovation Award again from Amazon last year, so back to back. So that speaks a lot of volumes that we're very much in the forefront of wanting to leverage AI and now AI agentics as we move into 2025. So that's a little bit of my story of how I ended up here and why I'm so excited about this company.
I love it. I really do. And would you say that one of the key value props of a platform like Xnurta is the fact that, for example, account managers, let's say they're helping brands with their Amazon advertising, because a lot of times these brands, they don't have the skill set in-house, so they are working with somebody like a Media Monks or whatever.
Right.
They are outsourcing their bid management, they're outsourcing some of the creative, they're outsourcing the strategy of how they run ads and where they land them and everything else. And would you and obviously, if a brand tries to do this in-house, typically they would have to rely on the data coming out of Seller Central or Vendor Central, I suppose, if they're on 1P. And sure, they might be able to get some of the data out of there, but it's certainly not what I would consider user-friendly data. And it's certainly, when we think about the ad management side of Amazon, I think no one would try to say, including Amazon themselves, that they're as advanced as something like the Meta Ads Manager or the Google Ads Manager. I don't think they would ever try to say that they're as advanced as that. or that they have the granular controls or the granular insights that those platforms provide. And so does it feel like you're plugging a pretty big gap in what Amazon provides directly to their merchants or even their agency partners?
Great question. And I think what we're seeing is you're right that winning on Amazon today and a platform like Amazon is so competitive. Everyone's on there. And so it's the days of just launching and just putting a product there, especially even COVID. We saw a lot of the brands and sellers, third parties trying to get in there and just be like these key things that are very like hand sanitizers and whatnot. Things have changed dramatically. And so in order to win on Amazon, you do need uh, expertise. There's a strategy for content. There's a strategy for advertising. There's a strategy for really launching new products, seasonality, going into new markets. There's just so many different things you have to think about because now you don't have the first party advantage or first mover advantage that you did back when I joined the space in 2014, 2015, because there's so much more competition. So I think there's a lot of things a brand or seller has to think about when they're selling on Amazon to be successful. And one of the big things is build it internally versus using an agency, right? So I saw that constantly when I was in the Amazon agency world where brands and sellers were determining, should I just hire the expertise in-house and have people that could do the content, that could manage the retail dollars, that can really like I have these people full-time versus using an agency that has all of this expertise and I'm paying a flat monthly fee or whatever. And it doesn't matter, they'll take care of it. And so I think those were the two solutions, and very much the solutions are in place still there. But at the end of the day, whether it's an agency or if you're just a brand with this talent, you ultimately need more of the insights and more data at your disposal quicker than you can get from Seller Central, than you can get from Vendor Central, or where you could get from previously AMS, right? Like really just pulling that advertised stuff. So that's where the tech is so critical. That's where you can look at the tech and be able to pull up and look at what is your advertising campaigns holistically. With the advent of Amazon Marketing Cloud and AMC, which has been something that has been very much in the forefront of the last 18 to 24 months, now you can pull all of your retail data and first party data. And instead of looking at it in silo and looking at results of ROAS on sponsored ads versus DSP, you can now pull all of that data and look at these details of the consumer behavior holistically. In the past, we weren't even able to do that with Amazon, but with Amazon Marketing Cloud, you could do that. So having software that can really pull that in, make that visibility easier because you need to know how to do SQL, that is gold. Right now, you're able to get these insights deeper, which is great. But then now, what do I do with these insights? And so it really has facilitated almost like a necessity that you need to have these insights. You need to use some kind of tech. And whether you're an agency, using an agency, or if you're a brand that's just hiring these people, but there's just too much good data out there that you really need to be able to look at to make key decisions. Because like I said earlier, it's just so much more competitive. So if you want to really win on Amazon, stay competitive, that's why having tech and ad tech and leveraging the AI and ad tech and the advent of that is going to be so essential for brands and sellers going forward.
And so does that mean that you connect to the AMC APIs, you connect to the Seller Central APIs, you connect to the Vendor Central and Seller Central APIs are effectively the same endpoints, just with
Right.
different account
Yeah.
IDs. But
Yeah.
so does that mean you're basically pulling data in from all of those API endpoints plus, and this is an answer I don't even know, a question I don't even know the answer to.
Mhm.
Does Amazon create API endpoints to not only pull data in, but push triggers out? For example, can you update your ads, your budgets, etc., directly through your platform, and then you push that into Amazon's API so that they don't have to live in AMC anymore?
That's the great questions. And that's exactly it. Yes. So software like ours with Xnurta, that's exactly what we're doing. We're pulling the data through those API connections directly into our platform. So you're pulling in the retail media data, you're pulling in first party data, and you're really being able to pull that. So as a agency or as a seller, now I have that visibility in my dashboard in this software tool. Then on top of it, you can modify and make not only review what the data is saying and look at campaign. For example, you look at your campaigns. I have 100 ASINs. I'm already running Amazon advertising on it. I want to be able to pull in all of those campaigns into the platform. Great. Now I see that. Now I want to be able to make modifications and campaign adjustments. Great. You could do that in our platform that pushes out then back to the native Amazon console. So to answer your question, yes. But what I'm talking about, that which is even more essential now than ever, is to be able to leverage AI to not only get that data pulled in, but to cipher that data, to be able to look at it from a bucket of time and date and be able to look at a seasonality by ASIN level, by each product level, by category level, like really deep insights is really what brands need to do going forward, right? Like you're getting these deep insights that now when you are looking at how do I want to spend my dollars, what does it make sense that software like ours can tell you like, okay, this is really where you're spending and what your results are on sponsored ads. Here's the return on DSP. If you did an adjustment and put more because the results are showing DSP is actually better for you with your demographic and where some of your new incremental customers you're trying to get is rather than sponsored ads, which is a knife fight, everyone's doing that. We can do those adjustments in our software with AI. And I think that's what's really cool, that really we're leading that forefront of AI agents, which is now the new buzzword ever since NVIDIA CEO mentioned it at CES. And more people are talking about AI agentics and stuff like with AI, with even DeepSeek. It's really now taking that next step of let the AI not only give you the data, give you the whole visibility, help you make decisions, which is massive. That's huge. But this year now, with our platform, we're really excited about the AI agents actually going in and executing, providing reporting, doing presentations for you, like really being able to take that action to a whole different level. So that's really what our software does. And I think that's where the industry is going in general.
So almost thinking of Xnurta as a marketing analyst,
Yeah.
a marketing assistant,
Digital team
a
player. We like
marketing.
calling it a digital team player. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And would you say today, what does the split look like of agencies using your
Yeah.
software to help their clients or brands using the software directly? Is it like a 50-50 split, or is it heavily weighted towards agencies? Because this feels like something that would make agencies significantly more efficient, which
Yeah.
means they could actually probably manage more ad accounts
Yeah.
with the same team
Yeah.
size than if they had to scale linearly with saying, okay, every new client we take on, cool. When an account manager gets to say 10 accounts, then boom, that immediately means we now have to hire a new account
That's
manager,
right.
even if we've only got one or two new accounts to give to them
Yeah.
initially, and really they reach saturation at about 10.
Yeah.
That means that the ROI on that new account manager is going to be low in the beginning, but then over time, the more clients you take on, the more valuable they become in terms of reselling their time.
Exactly.
But it feels managers, ad managers, whatever you want to call them, it feels like they can handle a significantly higher workload before you now need to add resource.
Yeah, I think you're spot on about that. And coming from that world, right? Coming from Amazon agencies for 10 years, of course, when I joined, that was one of my first things. This is a no brainer. Our software, especially with our AI, it's a no brainer for agencies to use that to exactly what you just described. You have all these ad managers, there's a prescription for every agency, there's a certain number of clients you can have, and then you need really software to really manage that retail media campaign. So agencies are obviously one of our main ICPs, and were the ones that we targeted very aggressively in the first year that I was here with Xnurta. But this software is not just for agencies, right? That's a no-brainer, right? I find that is really a no-brainer to go pitch that and do a 30-day pilot and show that efficiency play to an agency. I love doing that because they could see it from a workflow process, they could see it from results angle as well too. But equally, it's important for brands because there are a lot more brands and agencies, right? And there's a lot more brands out there that are looking to do things more in-house or just not maybe comfortable to do this at an agency. And so the tool was really built, number one, first and foremost, for sellers on Amazon and Walmart. And whether that's a direct seller or that's an agency really helping a seller, at the end of the day, it's about that seller. And so we do target brands and sellers. And so I would say as I go into now 2025 with this, I can see more of that 50-50 split. I definitely think we saw more on the agency side in 2024, and we will continue to see that. But our goal is really to hit both up. And really, the brands are not looking to use a agency and really wanting to do this in-house. That's the pitch to them, is like leverage the software. It gives you a lot of the insights. It's your digital team player. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to give this software option to them that they can fully leverage AI and feel comfortable. Or what we did is we were the first ones to launch a co-pilot. an AI co-pilot, which in essence is like a hybrid approach where you can leverage AI with some campaigns and to give you some insights. And then you can have an ad manager, whether that's on the brand or agency, come in and look at it and then decide if they want to continue down this path, make some adjustments. And so we really wanted to make it something that everyone can adopt. So going all in on AI and saying, just let AI do it, trust us, here's the data, that's not practical and that doesn't work for everyone. But the co-pilot option really gives people the comfort of maybe I tested, I have human interaction. And then that's what we wanted to give both options to brands and sellers that are ultimately selling.
And do you find that education, or how important is education in this space? Because if I'm a brand, and let's say I'm reasonably successful on Amazon, let's say I'm leveraging FBA, I'm having great shipping times, I'm giving great customer service, I've got great reviews, 4-star plus average reviews. Let's say I'm firing on all cylinders, so to speak.
Yeah.
But either I'm ready now to expand which countries or regions or Amazon dot whatever
Yeah.
storefronts that I'm going to sell on. And now I need to start thinking about translations. I need to start thinking about currencies. I need to start thinking about fulfillment in those regions. There's so many things I need to start thinking about. But let's say I think, hey, I'm doing all these things, but I've never touched Amazon ads before.
Mm.
So do you feel that there is an essential learning curve or an education component? Because certainly your technology can help, but there's still a technical element of this that
Yeah.
they need to understand.
100%.
And there's a certain minimum level of knowledge I think most people in most industries need to have before they're ready to even be able to utilize a tool like yours to its full potential.
Mm-hmm.
What role does education play in helping your customers, your brands that you work with, feel confident enough to go, okay, I think I'm ready to pull the trigger and start spending some real money on Amazon
Yeah,
ads?
no, I think it's another great question. And I think very relevant, right? Especially if I think about, to your point, selling on Amazon and selling your brand and really making money on the platform it's so critical for everyone, right? It's your life, it's livelihood, it's your business, especially when I think about even when you're explaining that small third-party sellers that are really just trying to get going. And so throughout last year, my team and I were very much road warriors. We hit the road, we did a lot of dinners, we did a lot of events, we did a lot of conferences, and a lot of these discussions were just around the basics. Because I think what happens is, and in the world that we're in today, where everyone's excited to talk about the latest thing, the latest buzz, AI and AI agents, or what does that mean? I was constantly reminded when I'm talking even to large brands and small brands, so many people don't know where to start, right? It's scary. What does this mean? And on top of it, even if you want to, as a brand or seller, do that, you may not be able to do that so easily because you have leadership and senior leadership that you need to educate along the way. So you're 100% spot on that a lot of last year and even now is education. Talking through our clients and potential clients and going to audiences and talking about how you can make it something that's very realistic today. Let's forget the pie in the sky thing, right? How can I make this applicable to me as a seller where I'm early days in this stuff? And so we had repeated conversations around that. It's actually one of my favorite conversations because you're really helping those people identify the light bulbs like, oh, okay, this is how I get started. And I think the good thing about this is even platforms like Amazon, with Amazon also getting into more AI features, or they're really trying to enable more AI in the platform, they're also trying to make it easier just for sellers just to get to the basic level of turning on Amazon advertising and being able to start up campaigns pretty easily. So that's good for sellers. All of this technology is good for sellers, that it just makes it easier that without having to be this ad expert, right? To your earlier point, that I can just do some basic stuff, maybe start testing with a little budget. I don't know how to set up campaigns. I don't know what's the right strategy. The tech can help you just test and learn. And I think that's what's exciting. If I was a third party seller, if I'm a seller out there right now, I almost feel like it's an even playing field where the big boys and the big brands always had a huge advantage because they have deeper pockets, right? But now with technology and AI and just really being able to leverage these tools, it's really even playing field now. If I need to create assets and I don't have any, I'm a third party seller, I can use software out there and get with generative AI and actually develop good enough assets cheap and cost effectively that I can use on Amazon. If I'm also wanting to spend some dollars, but I have limited budget, I got to talk to a boss and report what the return's going to be. I can now leverage software and do tests and learns and stuff like that. So education continues to be one of my favorite things with our clients and prospects and talking about it. But more than that, as part of that education is do it this way. Like this is take these 3 steps to do it and really focus on that and get comfortable and test and learn. I think it's just gotten way easier to do it, to be honest, than it has been in years past when you did need to become this ad expert. I had to learn Google AdWords to then understand Amazon advertising when it first launched because very similar platform. Now you don't have to do that. Now it's become a lot simpler with some of this technology.
And how important do you think the fact that Amazon is a native conversion channel? It's a native, there's a direct line between an ad and a product to buy, all in the same system directly. There's no redirects. There's no painful process of creating an account. There's no painful process of adding the product to your cart. There's no painful process of any of that. And it feels like the one Achilles heel, if there is one, the one Achilles heel for both Meta and Google are the facts that that these are non-transactional platforms, right? They are not, you are not going to execute the transaction. Meta shops or Facebook shops and Instagram shops notwithstanding, these are not traditionally transactional channels. Now, Google's tried with Google Shopping, and they've made some false starts with commerce a few different times. Meta's made many false starts with commerce. They would love to become a transactional commerce platform. The reality is they're not yet. And even if they were, even if Meta and Google could find a way to become transactional in platform like a WeChat style platform, for example, the reality is that Amazon has such a gigantic head start on them in terms of range, functionality, customer experience, trust, all those things. Amazon is just leading the way from a transactional e-commerce perspective and from a market share perspective. And so do you foresee a world sometime in the next 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years where Amazon becomes the number one e-commerce ad platform in the world because of that straight line between ad and conversion, where these other platforms, it's a really circuitous route to get to the transaction?
I think the trends are sure pointing that way, aren't they? Like you said earlier in this conversation, it's now number 3. Amazon's number 3. And of course, you look at the numbers, the difference from 1, 2 to 3, there's still a gap. But I think Amazon's going to continue to close the gap because of what you said earlier. That is what most excited me when I started really being in this space and seeing how the growth of Amazon is. You have the consumers going there, searching products. They can buy it right there. Like majority of the people, when it comes to starting their customer journey and searching for a product, they go straight to Amazon. More than 50% of people go there. And then what else Amazon's really smart with is partnering with some of these social media platforms. Their partnership with TikTok, for example, where they know Gen Z are spending and go first to TikTok before they go even to Amazon, to even be smart enough to bridge the gap there between a partnership with TikTok and Amazon to allow for that shopping experience to be even better than what TikTok Shops is and be able to do that through Amazon. I just think, to your point, they're going to keep climbing the ladder. And it makes sense. You're talking about relevant data right there, consumer behavior and details that consumer behavior you can get. It's so exciting for me when I think about it, working with a client, especially with my earlier statement about Amazon Marketing Cloud now being this space where you can pull all of that Amazon data and look at it. It's so cool to help a brand and see, okay, I'm all about incrementality. I need new customers, right? That's really the push for my bosses here. So how do I get there? So to be able to now on Amazon, because of Amazon Marketing Cloud and all of that rich data they have, I can now look at a consumer and their demographic is within their 30s, that's added to cart, clicked on a product page 6 times, and showed real high intent of purchasing, but didn't quite do that. Now I can, with AMC and with our no-code solution for AMC in our platform, it's so easy now for a brand to see that, find who that demographic is, and then right away target a ad to them. And really then that's a new client that they want, but the consumer behavior of that potential client shows that they're high intent. So I think that's what Amazon is way ahead of anyone else. Even if you think of the Amazon Walmart's really cool. It's good to see another player getting in there, but there's still quite a bit of gap between Amazon and Walmart. I think Amazon's going to continue to climb that ladder. And I think more and more dollars are being shifted by brands there, especially when it does come to sales and return on ad spend. And I just think we're going to definitely continue to see that trend.
Love it. And what's on your radar if you look out 6, 12, 18, 24 months?
Yeah.
Is there anything you don't do today that your customers are asking you to do, or do you see any gaps in the market that you don't play in yet that you think, hey, over the next 6, 12, 18 months, these are the top things on my radar, the top 1, 2, 3 things that I think are just going to make us explode?
Yeah, 100%. I think the number one on my list is continue to educate, because we're all passionate about that, like to really help a brand and seller to really understand, how do I move into a world where I can utilize more insights to make decisions, and then also not just get the insights, take action right there, and to be able to do that through software and really AI. So I'm really excited about the education, but I'm also excited about our roadmap. On our roadmap this year, we're going to continue to double down on AI and really double down on AI agents that imagine not only getting insights on campaign performance and being able for our software to make those bids automatically throughout the day, so you don't have to do it. Our software can look at the times, the days of the week that people are shopping and already shift their budgets. That's already happening, which is really cool. But now imagine being able to get deeper insights, to be able to look at, how do I explain the AI impact to my boss? How do I maybe even go into software and ask a couple questions around, hey, I saw that this is happening with these campaigns. What would happen if I wanted to shift this amount of budget for seasonality? That's what I'm excited about, because our software is going to allow, part of our product roadmap is we're going to get more into AI agentics, where it's more about predicting results, providing dashboards, more reporting, being able to bring more, like even doing presentations and creating a button where this great report gets to be set up. So it makes it easier for you. Our roadmap is very aggressive there. And so I think that's what I'm most excited about when I look at the next 6 to 12 months for us, is continue to help brands and sellers, help them adopt AI, help them understand Amazon Marketing Cloud. That's a great foot in the door, because it's cheap, it's free. You don't really have to spend a lot there, because it's just a cloud where you can pull in data. So it's like a no-brainer. So help them there. But then with these models that we're going to be releasing this year, to continue on AI agentics, where it's going to give you more insights, it's going to give you more actions, it's going to be able to do more. That's what I'm super excited about. And then the helping people adopt to it, because it's just going to change the way that you're looking to run your business on Amazon. It's just going to allow you to be smarter, more efficient, and even be it's not even about spending more on the platform. It's just knowing how to get the most out of the dollars you're investing there. So that part of it is really going to be our core focus over the next 6 to 12 months.
I love that. And how do you guys make your money? I see that you've basically got effectively 2 plans. One's a fixed monthly fee. You're a SaaS platform.
Yes.
So you got the traditional licensing or subscription model that you work to. $4.99 a month, which is lead. I assume that means single brand, perhaps in-house resource, managing this as a one-off, working with one brand, one suite of products, one ad account. And then obviously enterprise and agency, it's custom pricing depending on how many accounts, how many ads, how much ad spend. I'm guessing it's a whole lot of factors that go into that custom pricing. But if I'm a solo brand and I want to try doing most of this stuff, I want to bring most of this stuff in-house. Maybe I've even worked with an agency before, but now I want to bring that in-house, and I want to pay a specialist to really dive deep into this, maybe even train them up. Get them upskilled on the platform, get them upskilled on the concept of ads. Is that kind of how you've broken these pricing tiers out?
Spot on. I think the model that you're talking about, that's more that $4.99, is really just that third-party seller that wants to leverage a tool and really just leverage AI and really get going on their own. So it's very much an entry point that doesn't make it seem like daunting in there. But I think a lot of the brands that we end up working with are the ones that need more education. They have multiple brands. They have a larger ad spend. They have multi-markets, right? And then they have sponsored ads, DSP, AMC. And so they're looking at all of these things. So really our motto is really looking at scoping it out. Most of our clients we scope it out. We look at their entire journey of what they're trying to do. And so it could be a flat monthly fee, it could be a percentage of ad spend, but we're really just looking to cater it where it makes sense based on what we're doing. So yeah, and very much we're big on just having the conversation. Let's understand their pain points, what they're trying to accomplish. Let's come up with a 30, 60, 90-day plan, what that would look like if they work with us, and then a pricing model that makes sense. And really what we want to do, it's not about because we're the leaders in AI and we're really proud of that we're trying to be really trying to get the highest price. No, we're very competitive. In fact, I think even with the incumbents, we're still lower than them because it's all about adoption, right? That's our big thing, is to hit the market with adoption, make it sensible for the clients that we work with, and really help with just coming up with a model of pricing that even makes sense for them.
And how important are other third-party integrations to your future in terms of integrations other than Amazon? So you've obviously got internal APIs that you use and leverage and connect to the Amazon endpoints. But for example, how important would being able to connect to other third-party MTA platforms, the Triple Whales, the North Beams, the other marketing analytics platforms that are out there where they're trying to bring all of their marketing analytics across every channel into a single dashboarding environment where data can be visualized universally? How important do you feel that is to your future and your growth plans?
It's a great question. I think when I think about it from the future of a brand and seller, that's the dream world, right? If I could have one-stop shopping or really being able to pull everything, this is going to be my dream. And I do think there's a world of, as we continue to see advancements in e-commerce, companies are going to be able to maybe partner or merge or acquire to allow for that more holistic view, but in a way that it makes sense. Because I've seen too many times, even being an agency, there are providers out there that offer one-stop shop. It might be on paid social and search and then retail media, but they just do a decent job in all of them, but not really good. They're not the best in Amazon advertising. They don't have the best features. So I think it's going to take time to get to that holistic view of it. I do think we're going there as we keep developing e-commerce and AI and technology. I think where we're very focused on is there's still so much room to help sellers on Amazon. And then there's so much room with sellers on Walmart, right? So our platform right now is very Amazon and Walmart focused. And we want to continue to double down in terms of just helping the sellers there, because most sellers and brands, when they think about their investment, it is really Amazon and Walmart. But then we also this year are going to go omnichannel. So for omnichannel, for us, is those top 10 retail platforms in the US. So you're talking about the Targets of the world or Home Depot, right? eBay and stuff like that. So we are going to extend to not just Amazon and Walmart, but to those others. But to your question, like when looking at a grandiose, larger level, it's not necessarily in our roadmap right now. We're very focused just on Amazon, Walmart, and omnichannel. But as we continue to grow, we're pretty ambitious in terms of what we want to do and how we want to get there. And we definitely have a lens towards it. And so nothing that we have something to announce right now for it, but something's definitely worth thinking about when we think about that 5-10 year roadmap.
Love it. Fantastic. Listen, this has just been a fantastic conversation. Now, as we start to come down to the end of our time together, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you? I'll drop your LinkedIn link in the show notes. I'll drop the Xnurta link in the show notes. But other than that, if people want to get a hold of you and they want to talk all things Amazon advertising and automation and management and AI, what's the best way to reach out and have a conversation?
Come to our website, xnurta.com. There's a little field there. If you're interested, you just fill out your information. You'll get contacted right away. We'd love for people to come and have the conversation. Of course, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Like I said, just share. I love having those conversations in our team. But yeah, I think the best way would be either coming directly to our website or dropping a note on LinkedIn. And then we're happy to have these conversations. It's a lot of fun, right? We're really entering year 3 in our marketplace here at Xnurta in the US. We have a lot more room to grow and help these sellers really understand that. So we're excited. So definitely looking forward to those conversations.
Love it. Love it. I'll definitely drop all that stuff in the show notes so people can easily reach out and have that conversation with you. Now, this is the chance where I get to flip the script. I get to hand the microphone over to you. I get to let you ask me one question, any question you like, can be personal or professional. Mr. Kashif Zafar from Xnurta, What is your question for me
My
today?
question is, I love that your background, your experience, and especially you're a very worldly man. You've lived in a lot of places in the world, and from US to New Zealand, Mexico. What I would love to hear from you, when you think of it from a consumer, and really in 2025, what sticks out to you? What are the most important things for you as a consumer to make your life easier when you're shopping? I would just, especially from the fact that you've been in so many multiple places, I'd love to just hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, totally. I think that both as an individual consumer and some of the things I'm seeing evolve in the market, the rise of marketplaces is going to continue. The top three e-commerce retailers in Mexico today are Amazon, it is Mercado
Yeah.
Libre, and it is
Yeah.
Coppel. And Coppel is both a retailer, and so they sell some products first party and some products third party. And what I'm seeing is that every major retailer in Mexico also does first party and third party. So if we look at Liverpool, which is a major department store chain here in this country, you can go to Liverpool website. Some are sold first party, some are sold third party. So as marketplaces is becoming just such a common thing. They want to monetize all that traffic. They spend so much money getting to their website. They don't want to be the seller of record necessarily of a million
Yeah.
SKUs, but they want to be able to offer a million
Yeah.
SKUs. And so I think this extends even into the B2B world where I'm playing heavily now, is that B2B brands, they have always had multiple digital sales channels, from e-procurement to EDI to self-service e-commerce to selling and listing on marketplaces like Amazon to being their own marketplace or dropship, right? So this has always been a big part of the B2B e-commerce world,
Yeah.
but DC360 data shows that marketplaces are still the fastest growing sales channel, even in the B2B world. So I see marketplaces, regional, local, vertical specific marketplaces, they're going to see explosive growth in 2025. We're already seeing that. We're seeing Fair having an absolute its day in the sun. We're seeing platforms like Jor have their day in the sun as a B2B marketplace. We're just seeing the evolution, I think, of channel trust. What I like to say is channel
Yeah.
trust. Here in Mexico, logistics is really challenging in
Yeah.
Mexico because there's a lot of addresses, and I've mentioned this on the podcast before, there's a lot of addresses that don't even have a street address. They've got like a path address. So on a hillside, for example, where there's not necessarily roads on the hillside, there's walkways and pathways, and all the houses up the hillside, they've got a pathway address or a location address, a postal code with a postal address, but it's not a roadside address. So not everybody can understand how to deliver and fulfill to those weird and wonderful rural addresses or things like that. I think logistics is pretty good in the United States, Canada, New Zealand, Australia. It's all pretty straightforward. It's all pretty trustworthy. You can be pretty sure the stuff's going to get to you. In Mexico, wider LATAM, Southeast Asia, other places like that, not so much. Logistics is really challenged because the location complexity is really difficult. And so these marketplaces that have managed to figure that out, and they've managed to nut that out with either internal logistics capabilities and or partnered logistics capabilities, that's what's making them so trustworthy. That's what's making them have the better range. That's what's making them the essential go-to place. And interestingly, Mexico is right now where New Zealand was pre-COVID in terms of e-commerce penetration. So today, e-commerce is roughly 9% of total retail in Mexico, which is it's not even into double digits
Yeah.
yet. Well, pre-COVID, New Zealand was in exactly the same place. So I've watched this evolution happen in multiple countries now, and I watched it happen in Australia to where it's now at almost 15%, depending on the data you look at, somewhere between 15 and 17% of total retail in Australia is now e-commerce. It's well over 20, 25% in America. It's at about 30% in the UK, and then it's approaching 50% in China, for example. I think we can look to China as the bellwether of e-commerce, of where everything is going. And certainly social commerce, live stream commerce, and marketplace commerce are the three big exploding opportunities in Asia, which means that we can't be far behind.
We can't be far behind. Yeah. So, and it's really cool to hear that more specifically about where Mexico is today with you being there. And I think you're spot on about these marketplaces. And we're still, it seems like everything feels 10 years behind, right? Like 10 years behind, like the next marketplace that's maybe a little bit stronger. So, no, I appreciate that answer. And it'll be exciting to just continue to see that development for each of these countries and regions.
Are you a B2B or D2C e-commerce merchant? Then head over to greenwoodconsulting.net to learn how we can help you scale your business.